What's going on, guys? It's Jericho here with HD, also known as Humpty Dumpsters.
And this is Andy with GMP Property Services. We hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to another episode here a week later. Episode 2, for sure. A week later after the first one.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been a very busy week. I know for me and for you, it's been,
it's like
very busy.
Spring, bro.
It's coming. It's coming. So faster than we can blink. That grass is getting greener. I'm starting to lay stripes, man. It's been...
I know, I've seen
you seen it?
First stripes, bro.
First stripes. Hey, and they look fresh, too.
Mm-hmm. The blades haven't seen a piece of grass in a long time, huh?
Probably in that specific mower, probably about 2 months.
Dang.
Everyone canceled. Everybody kept calling. No, not this week.
Actually, speaking about that, since you're saying like 2 months since you like used it or whatever, I want to talk about, because obviously I bought a lot of new equipment and whatnot, and obviously that's a huge step in obviously growing the business. I wanted to talk about, because obviously people see it from the outside view and they think like, oh, it's, he has this equipment, whatever the case may be. But basically to have some kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily call it a system, but what I want to kind of talk on or break down on is like, or whatever you want to call it, is when you have equipment and whatnot, even though you're not using it, you still got to pay for it.
Oh, yes, 100%.
And so basically how I want to touch on is like, obviously I use the dumpster business because obviously that's really like my main thing is the dumpster rentals. How I use that to funnel all my money to obviously pay for new equipment for other things and whatnot. And also to dive deeper into that, we'll talk about commercial and residential stuff, and then also talk about your commercial and residential stuff. But at the end of the day, whether you have a piece of equipment and if you're not using it, you still got to pay the bill.
Yep. And that's a big one that sometimes people may not look at.
Yes, and especially with like obviously when it gets slower or weather comes around, it definitely sucks sometimes because you have that in the back of your mind like, oh crap, this needs to be taken care of, even when the money's not coming in. So obviously to be able to overcome those kind of obstacles and challenges, like that, I feel like definitely brings like the inner dog out of somebody, especially as like an entrepreneur.
Definitely separates, and I'm sorry to interrupt, the impulsive buys from the buyers that actually take the time to think about it and decide on, hey, is this the right time? Am I doing this just for taxes? Am I doing this because I actually need a piece of equipment? Am I just excited to see some new shiny stuff? Because for us, I know we always get excited. We see something shiny.
And you might not even need it.
Exactly. Yeah, we're like, oh, yeah, that thing
looks
nice.
And then now you're stuck with something that just sits at your yard,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But also touch into that, like, I bought the new equipment, and thankfully, obviously, like I know you used the 97 when I first got it. I mean, you probably honestly used it more than I have, and it's mine, But recently, I've been having a lot of more commercial projects, commercial jobs, and whatnot. And what I have noticed, and this has definitely been a learning curve for me going into this year, is obviously with commercial people, like you don't get paid right then and there.
Oh yeah,
you don't get paid as soon as you're done, and that's something that I have obviously had to work on recently. And for the viewers that are out there, or the people that obviously want to kind of get into the same business that we're in, it's like you also need to make sure you have that like safety net or that funding to the side. So whenever you do have those commercial sites, if you get into that whenever you're waiting 15, 20, 30, 40, 60 days, 90 days in some cases to get paid, like you got to put that into perspective. And that's something that I had to like obviously break down and realize that, because we did the fencing job the other day, and for people that follow us on Facebook and stuff, we did that like I don't know how many 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
2-3 weeks ago,
somewhere around there. And we're just now getting funded, hopefully by the end of this week, and so that'll probably be close to 3-4 weeks. And whenever you obviously spend a lot of money on materials like that, the whole nine, at the end of the day, like you're getting paid that money, but you're waiting this whole time. And throughout those days that you're waiting to get paid for, those bills are still there.
Yep.
And so that's another thing too that I had to come to realization is like, okay, like I have this money coming in, but it's not coming in. It's not here. It's not in the account. So, you technically it feels like you have to work even harder, because you're waiting for that money to come in.
Yep.
And so then now you have to go out and do this and that. So obviously for people that are wanting to get into commercial clients and things like that.
Jobs in general.
Yeah. Like make sure you guys have that.
A safety net.
Yeah. It's that safety net, the money in the bank to do that, and just have that mentality that like, yes, you're going to be doing this, but you need to find something either right after that you'll get paid instantly to still make sure you're comfortable with all the bills or with all the payments or whatever the case may be, or just living expenses. You know what I mean? Yep. So I want to touch on that.
Yeah,
but
I mean that goes a little bit with I'll touch on that as well a little bit with what I was talking about previous episode on working backwards, knowing your budget, what are your financials looking like, how much is it going to cost you to just operate in general between financial payments such as your payments for the machines, your payment for the mowers in my case, trailers, trucks,
insurance,
insurance, everything. Like there's ways to do that, and again, like I mentioned, working that out before that even happens, working it backwards, seeing, hey, okay, how much am I going to pay myself? How many hours are my employees going to be potentially working? If you do have employees, right? For some people, a lot of the times, I know especially more up north where there's snow, people hire, 10, 15, people in general for the spring. And then come wintertime, they only end up keeping 3 or 4 of their, main guys, maybe just the crew leads and stuff. Because for the snow
industry, rehire when it gets busy again.
Yep. And then come the spring again, come February, November, everybody's starting to rehire again. And so depending on where you guys are at, where you guys are listening, that could be another option as well. But yeah, like you mentioned, definitely, having that safety net, having that to where you can say, hey, November through February, I need $5K a month, $10K a month, $20K a month, whatever your number is for your size of business. Yeah. I need to make sure that I have that and be able to build that and save to that, throughout the year.
And taxes too. And taxes that don't obviously save until the last minute, like a whole nother thing too.
And this will be a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day, but knowing that goes down to knowing your numbers, making sure that you are profitable on these jobs, making sure that you are making enough so where you can say, hey, let me save up a little bit here, let me save up a little bit there, and then, maybe separate your accounts, allocate to each one every month, whatever the case, however you run your financials as of now starting out. But best case scenario, I would say, is that, man, just, have that thought ahead of time and say, hey, when are my slow months? When are my busy months? How can I, increase in the slow months? Can I add another potential service, a temporary service, for the slower months? Right. You can be able to do. Do I need to go get a part-time job? Like, as much as you being an entrepreneur and not wanting to do that, for some people, that's an option. Yeah. I know there's, we know a few police officers and stuff like that to where they do that. That's their full-time gig. And then they have a little part-time, or they full-time, do a company and they're part-time in the medical field or whatever the case is, first responders. So it's like there's a lot of that stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, as long as you're able to make your payments and as long as you're able to do that, I think that's good, because I think we'll definitely get into that. But I had some pretty bad experiences with that as far as making payments on time and everything. So I would definitely like to dive into detail further on and share that with you guys, even though it is a very intimate part of the business. But share that,
it's a business.
Exactly. It is a business. And I'm not the first one that it's happened to, nor will I be the last. But
it's the rise and the falls.
I wouldn't want it to happen to you guys as the viewers after seeing, so many, what do they say? Learn from other people's mistakes. So that's a big one. But yeah, man, I mean, going forward, what do you think would be a main difference, at least in your industry, for commercial versus residential? Where do you see yourself going? What do you think is like, hey, this is my bread and butter? Yeah. What are you?
Well, as of right now, it's definitely a different playing field. And the reason why I say that is going through the slower months, like slower, quote unquote, slower months. We were definitely fortunate enough to have a lot of commercial clients at that time. And having those obviously kept food on the table, kept, the employees paid, kept, the bills paid, kept everything running and going and still being comfortable in a sense. And so going into those later times in the year or early times of the year, like you said, November to February, whatever the case may be, I catered more to commercial sites because I knew that obviously the residential people, it gets cold outside. No one wants to go and clean up outside or things like that, where commercial, it has to keep going. Those sites that are new builds or those sites that have demolitions or whatever the case may be, or rebuilds. Because another thing too is I've had a few like churches, or I've had a few schools or things like that they're trying to get all these remodels or all the construction done before the new year, because obviously that is a tax write-off or whatever the case would be for them. And so definitely catering towards commercial sites at the end of the year, or the slower times, quote unquote, helped me out. And now, being that it's like the springtime, we're midway through February, I've had so many residential people call me, and like now I'm like, I'm overbooked, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too with the residentials that I know during the months of November, December, and maybe even like for one day in February, but the holidays. That slows a lot of people down for the residentials.
No, 100%. Yeah. When I wasn't as like big or known in our area, definitely the holidays hit, and it hit, and not in a good way either. It definitely took a toll. Thankfully, I was owner operator, so it's just my costs, my expenses, my daily things.
Except for this year.
Yeah, except for this year, because I got a germ, right?
Yeah, you got a germ.
I have a germ, so...
Which, next episode?
Oh, yeah. I already told him. I already made a reservation on his calendar.
All right.
I said, next Wednesday, I don't care what you're doing, bro.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
We might have to record a little later, because he is, a father.
No.
Whatever works, we're gonna try to get it done.
He's gonna cater to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. He's HD for life.
Oh, well, he ain't getting paid for this one, so.
Nah. But, so yeah, commercial definitely helped me out a lot. And then, like I said, when I was touching back on the residential, I had 3 or 4 returning customers just this week. And they're like, oh yeah, we called you last year. We're doing our first spring cleaning, or, it's that time again.
Yeah.
And we've been super grateful and blessed, honestly, that we have those kind of customers. Yeah. And even though our prices fluctuate and go up as time goes on, they know that we're going to be reliable. We're still going to be dependable and take care of them at the end of the day.
And after all, you've built a pretty good brand. You built a brand that they can look at that for that specific reason and say, hey, where do we call? We call Humpty, and go from there. I mean, you're on time. You're very communicative. So there's a lot of
that
stuff
goes a long way.
on.
It does. I definitely think just picking up the phones. Everyone would say the same thing probably, but picking up the phone, bro, is a big one. If you don't pick up the phone, actually, perfect example. The other day, it was probably like maybe 2 weeks ago. Obviously, I'm trying to make sure I acquire every customer that calls, right? And I think it was last week. No, it was last week. Last week, I had somebody that was referred to me, and I was on the phone with somebody else for a rental. I saw that they were calling me. Literally, it was like the phone rang. I ended the call with the customer I was on the phone with, and then called him back like that second after that. Literally, we're talking like 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. Hey, this is Jericho with Humpty Dumpsters. I missed a call from you. Oh, yes. Thank you for calling me back, but I already found somebody. Literally, like that quick. And it was just like, I was with Big X. Mm-hmm. I was with Big X. And I was like, dude, do you see that? Like, that's the name of the game in this industry. And at least the dumpster stuff is like, you have to be ready to fire up and go, because if you're not there, they're going to go to the next person. And that's the thing. And it might be with your business too. I have no idea, but that's just the nature of the game. People are going to call. Some people will book, weeks in advance or months in advance. And some people are like, oh, I need ASAP. I need like right now, and obviously those sometimes you'll miss and they'll just go to the next person, which sucks. But
yeah, I think it goes down to, because for my business, it's very similar as well. As far as picking up the phone, I would say even nowadays, it is definitely more important for somebody to have, how do I explain this? Like somebody to have that potential to be able to call somebody and a human answers the phone. There's so much AI going around now. There's so many phone call services going around now that
I'll touch on that too. Yeah.
That it's just like, hey, like, for a lot of the people in my industry, when you're out on the mower, it's very hard for you to stop and answer the phone.
Or hear that they called you, and the next thing you know, you call them back 20 minutes later, or even 10 minutes later.
Found somebody. Yep. Exactly. Because if they're doing it, it's right then and there.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking on their phone, they're typing in, hey, you know, lawn care near me, landscaping near me, lawn maintenance near me, whatever keywords they can type in. You know, they're doing all that. So they're just going down the list, starting from the first one. Or, you know, if it's like maybe a little person on the younger side, they might sit there and kind of sift through the reviews. You know, hey, well, this person looks a little sketch. This person maybe a chuck in the truck. You know, this person's that, this person's that. So I see a few bad reviews, you know, going from there. So building that brand and being able to answer the phone is a big one. I know for you, you know, if you're driving, you're in the machine, it may be a little bit easier, maybe not so much on the machine, but the fact that, you know, you always have headphones. I have headphones too, but by the time if I answer the call immediately as it's coming into my headphones, by the time I turn off the blaze, turn down the throttle, turn it off, they're hearing the last part of the mower. And so it's like, if I answer it also and I immediately put myself on mute, hello? Like it's a good 10-second pause before everything actually shuts down and we're quiet. And then you got Billy Bob over here going with the weed eater right behind you. So it's like, it's still the same thing. So I think for some industries, yes, it's definitely a game saver on having an AI recipient to be able to say, hey, or receptionist, be able to say, hey, how are you doing? You know, this is blah, blah company. How may we assist you? Right. Or directly guiding people to your website. A lot of the commercial sites, you have to call and you're sitting there talking to a robot, especially like if you're going to go buy a truck or whatever, you're going to call, you know, let's say, for example, we'll use where I got my truck from, you know, financed through Wells Fargo, or even you through Mac Hike, just to be able to get to a receptionist or something, you gotta sit there and sift through the robot. And that's how they're able to shift calls, because there's so much going on that they can say, hey, if we can have an operator talk to somebody for payments, we don't need to do that. Right? Let the operator do that. Let the robot do that. All right, boom. The only thing we actually need somebody to be on the customer service line is for mainly complaints, sales, or, you know, you name it, you know, whatever of those, you know, top two that you can see it would be an issue. But I think that's a big one. Having a good website as well, that plays a huge role in what customers are able to get. Yeah. A lot of the people in my industry, they don't necessarily have their website. You know, it's very hard for them to, in their eyes, to go and give a quote, you know, based off of just a simple address on there. You know, that's where you strictly have to call back. I know for you, you're more renting out something that is visible on the screen, on their phone, on the screen, on their computer, on the screen, wherever. So they can, oh, this one looks good. Okay, boom, click, 3 clicks, and they're, you know, it's booked. And you get the notification, hey, new dumpster booked. So
one thing I did want to touch on that you just talked about was the AI calls. I have definitely realized the older generation, right? They don't like that.
They don't like
that. And
agreed.
I had a call today, first time and probably since I updated my phone and started doing screen calls, because I've been getting a lot of spam and whatnot. But first call that I've had in probably the last month or so. So it doesn't happen all the time, but it's still something that should be touched on, and a thought that I'm like, oh wait, for instances like this, it's not good to have it. So as time goes on, that one customer, you times that by 12, that's 12 customers you lost. Times that by, I don't know, $500. It's $6,000, $7,000, whatever that you lost out on the whole year just from having the screen call. And so I had a customer today call me, and I was on the phone again with somebody else. I realized that he was, he called, right? And obviously my screen call, it says, oh, can you please state your name and the reason for calling, and I'll try to connect you. And I seen that it was saying oh, we're asking for the screen, what it's for, and it hung up. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But I was obviously on the phone. So then as soon as I hung up with that, I called him. I was like, hey, literally 2 seconds after that, I said, hey, I missed a call from you. And he goes, oh yeah. He was an older gentleman. He's like, oh yeah, I called, but it seemed like I went straight to a voicemail. But they don't understand that it's not a voicemail. It's, you know what I mean? And so that was something that really opened my eyes today, that it's a possibility that you could be losing on customers for that little reason, So AI is good and all for a lot of the newer generation and whatnot, but you could definitely still probably lose customers if AI is used in wrong ways.
Yeah, but I think that definitely has to do also with the age group that you're in, or that is necessarily calling.
Well, for me, I mean, I could obviously see in your realm too. I do get a lot of, I'm not gonna say older, but I do get some people that might be in their 60s, 70s, that will call me. and they call me because like they're not going to be able to do go do a dumpster or whatever it can be like your service. Like
same thing for me. I mean,
they're not going to be able to go. They're not going to be able to go out there and cut the grass,
cut the mower on, handle the weed eater. Yeah. That makes total sense. But that's also why change for a lot of the older people is very, very hard.
It is.
It's very hard. I still have maybe I've done my hardest to transfer everybody to like a payment on file, which is like a main requirement right now. Mm-hmm. But I know deep down I have
sometimes hard. They want to pay by card. Pay by check or cash.
Yep.
Or something.
I have a very small handful of customers that I have only allowed that to still pay me via check, under the mat, barbecue pay. I mean, typical stuff that you would see in the lawn maintenance industry. But I've allowed that because I have also come to that realization, like you, like, hey, like older people, it's a little harder for them.
Yeah.
They can't just go over there and just boom, boom, like hop on something different as if, it was something
I literally just had a customer that I was like, I kind of could tell, but he was definitely an older gentleman, and I was like, hey, like, do you have an email? Oh, no, I don't have an email. Yeah, you could tell he was up in age and probably didn't have one, but I was like, okay, well, my software requires an email, so every time I have a customer that doesn't have an email, I have to put my own email, which it is what it is. But yeah, so like I said, going back to the whole AI thing, I think it's great. I think it's a phenomenal thing for newer generation, and people that are obviously tech savvy, I guess. Mm-hmm. But having the older people, they probably won't really understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but that's where you gauge out your demographic. Nowadays you can see,
you can see everything.
Yep, you can see
the age of people, male or female,
who you're advertising to, male or female, age group. I mean, you can go on a whole tangent about the marketing and who you're marketing to. To touch on that, same thing from the previous episode, even with DDDM, like when you're targeting your certain zip code.
Oh yeah.
You always obviously want to hit some zip codes that have a little bit more, I guess, income in a way that's coming in, because that's going to help you in growing your business. However, at the end of the day, sometimes you hit the jackpot in other communities, maybe average income communities and stuff like that, because a lot of those people, hold a lot of stuff that they want to get rid of. So it's a huge, it's kind of a balance, find your market in your area, and then go from there. We're fortunate enough here that the Houston area is so big. I mean, it's huge.
It is big. It's big and it's saturated, but you got to be like that needle in a very small haystack. To put that into context, like there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who do the same thing that you do. A lot of people do the same thing that I do. But the reason why I say small is because it's easy to find you in a small haystack if you put yourself out there like that. Like if you build your good brand, obviously they always say like needle in a haystack.
Yeah, but I think that's building the brand. That point right there.
What I'm trying to make is like, yes, like in a big saturated area, as long as you kind of like brand yourself and make yourself known, then people will be able to find you a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you'll stand out a lot more.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think that's where it started off for me, and it took me about a good 2 to 3 years from when I first initially graduated and I started, out there cutting grass and everything. I was using my last name, and it was very hard for customers to be able to, Paredes Lawn Care Landscaping. It was very hard for customers to be able to, reach me, because they would always, my name to them would be a tongue twister, right? My last name. And so that's when I thought about it. And that's when I started listening to podcasts. I started listening to all these, AKA influencers that are out there that are doing it, the whole social media thing. And I was like, man, like, how could I be like them one day? How could I get to that point? Mm-hmm. And so one thing led to another. Started again, reading a few books here and there. Not that I'm a huge reader, because I'm very illiterate, but I'll definitely, throw a book in there, throw a few pages in there whenever I can, and listening to audiobooks. And I was like, hey, you know what? these people are right. Like, you have to build a brand, you know, and you have to nurture that brand, and you have to train that brand to be whatever you want it to be. And that's one very, very big reason why I switched from my last name for the company to GMP. And so that's why I was like, hey, like, that's super easy. You know, I can put that on shirts. I can put that on business cards. I can put that on my truck. Like, everybody knows, hey, who do you call GMP? Who do you call GMP? You know, ground maintenance professionals, right there and there, you know. So it's, I felt that need to be able to switch that. And, you know, once we did get incorporated and we're able to, you know, do it, I guess, the right way in 2021, once we started growing, that was very big for me. And that helped me land, you know, one of the contracts that we have. Yeah. And so it's like, dude, like, once you build that, you're able to get bigger opportunities. You're able to put yourself out there and get to that point to say, hey, you know, this guy's been doing it. The reviews are there, you know, or his work ethic is there. A lot of times you don't start off with 50, 60 reviews, you know, you start off with 1, 2, or 3. So, I mean, it just depends. What made you think about yours?
Well, I definitely do think that if you want to be successful, or at least an easier way to become successful, is obviously having a great name and something that's always catchy and easy to remember. Humpty Dumpsters, obviously, just Humpty Dumpty, and obviously with our logo and everything, they see an egg, or they see, I mean, Humpty Dumpsters, like Humpty Dumpty, everyone knows that. So, but how I actually got the name, for people that maybe not know, I don't know if I talked about it in our first or like old podcast videos, but, or first, whatever you want to call them. My great uncle actually came up with the idea. One day I had just went over to where he worked at, and we always talked about doing business or what I could do as a business. And I was always like super young, like 10, 11, 12. And so I never wanted to hear it. I was always like, oh, like Theo, like, here he goes again, right? And then finally one day, like, I was thinking about doing something because I had a full-time job, and actually I was going to touch on that too. But I had a full-time job, and I was looking at how I could make extra money, and I actually came across like trailer rentals, not dumpster rentals, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. And then obviously I went over to his job, and I told him about it. I was like, hey Theo, like, you know, for the first time, I was like, I have an idea, you know, like, oh my gosh. And I told him about it, and he was like, well, like, why trailers? He was like, why don't you do like dumpsters? And I was like, dumpsters? I was like trash? Like, no, what the heck? He's like, no, like, like, you know, like dumpsters, like the ones you see at the commercial sites, or, you know. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And he goes, and he was definitely a clever man. But he was like, well, why don't you name it Humpty Dumpty Dumpsters or something like that, or Humpty Dumpsters? And for a second, I thought to myself, I was like, that's a freaking brilliant idea. Genius. Like, genius. Like, light bulb went off in my head. I was like, yes, you know. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I just said, that's a great idea. And I think I asked my mom, or it probably was my mom, or it might have even been him. But at that time, I was like, well, I don't know who do I file this with, or how do I make a business? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything. And so, actually, it might have been him. But anyways, he was like, oh, you know, one of them were like, oh yeah, go to the clerk or whatever.
County clerk, get your DBA.
Yeah, get your DBA. And so obviously all these things were new to me. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I just went in there and, like, full of faith, like, I don't know, like, you know, show me the signs or something. And finally went in there, and yeah, they put me down, Humpty Dumpsters, you know. And
that's what started.
Here I am, you know. So it's super easy. If people actually, I'll be in town or anywhere really, and they'll be like, Humpty, and I already know. I'm like, oh, they gotta be talking about me. Yeah. And I turn around and they're like, hey, how's it going? Maybe like one of my old customers or something. And sometimes I honestly don't even like remember them. You know, it might be someone that we serviced, but germ, you know, dropped it off, and they're like, oh, hey, Humpty, and I'm like, hey, you know, how's it going?
How you doing?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. If you want to be successful, for sure, I definitely would say a catchy name. I remember me and you talked about this, and you know, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but, you know, I came up with a name for this too, you know, but it was smart. It was smart. You know, Dirty Knowledge is like, you know, people can probably find it like kind of like corny, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're both dirty jobs, you know. So it's
But I remember when we first talked about it, it was like Dirty Knowledge. Like, what are we talking about? Because I thought it was funny that people could probably think that it's like, you know, rated R stuff, like Dirty Knowledge. And
oh yeah,
would it be dirty or something? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was that was a big one that we were.
Yeah, and we're like, what? Is that a good idea? Like, that kind of looked like it could sound weird, and we're like, Well, that's the beauty of it, you know.
Nah,
Like,
YOLO.
yeah, bro.
And even to come up with the logo, I remember we were like, DK, like, should we do something along the lines of Donkey Kong? Like,
Yeah. I was like, DK. I was like, DK is like cool. Like, yeah, like Donkey Kong, you know? And so I remember when we first started, we were trying to get like logos, obviously, with, you know, Donkey Kong and this and that. But then obviously,
it was very hard to find something that was like,
nothing actually, like, nothing just looked good.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you could definitely tell, like, when it's the one, you know?
Yeah, I
had a bunch of weird ones. And
sent one out to make, and they misspelled knowledge. And
it was
you were the one that catch that one out, and I was like,
yeah, you were like, bro, look at this, bro, and I was like, bro, they spelled knowledge wrong, and you were like, oh yeah. I was like, bro, who are you hiring to do this,
I was a little excited on the first ones, and I was like, oh, hey, bro, you know, because where I got my logo is I got it off of Fiverr.
I did too.
GMP, and so I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, boom, like, let me go on Fiverr. And I found the cheapest, I'm talking about $7. And so they have a logo within 24 hours. And I was so happy. And I found one and I was like, boom. And I was like, at that point, it looked good to me, right? And I was like, oh, okay, like, this is good. Like, it's decent. You know, let me see what Jerry wants. Boom.
Sends it to me, bro, look at this, like, all hyped and everything. It's very easy to, like, make him happy or, like, you know.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, but yeah, it was super excited about it. He was like, bro, look at it. And I was just like, is he being for real? Like, there's no way. And so I didn't want to insult him because I didn't know he got it from Fiverr. I thought he did it himself. And I was like, yeah, bro, looks great, bro, but knowledge is spelled wrong.
They forgot the W, so it was just knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah.
So that was messed up. And then eventually I found somebody else. I don't even remember how much.
You paid like 2 different people or 3 different people.
Yeah, by the time we got this. So we ended up investing like $150. Well,
because
probably not 100. It was like $100.
It was something. But I remember like the people you did use. Obviously, yes, you're using like cheaper people, and they didn't have like revisions.
Yeah, they didn't. It was like 2 or 3 revisions, but like you couldn't really revise the logo itself. You can maybe change the colors or like add something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was not like, oh, this is what you get. Me, I did go through a lot too when I got my logo. I remember I had a couple different ones and I was like, nah. But I think I had them revise it like 7 times, honestly. I know that guy, the person whoever made it, he or she probably hated me, but like now, I mean, people see this and they're like, oh my gosh, like,
yep. And
I love your logo.
Put it on the trucks, put it on everything, yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I found this one, I was pretty excited about this one, but this guy plays around too much. So I sent it to him and he was like, hold on.
Waiter. Another water. I was playing.
I was about to say, I don't know who you waiting on.
I know, you know our producer not getting nothing.
Oh no, a producer, he's over there sitting with pink Air Max, or what are those headphones called? The
AirPods.
Yeah,
no, AirPods. AirPod Max?
What are those things called, producer?
AirPods Max.
Oh, I was right.
Okay, yeah.
AirPods Max. They're pink.
They're pink, so we think he's a little fruity, but that's a story for a different day. Anyways, I sent him the logo, and I was like, bro, what do you think about this one? I was like, I mean, this one's pretty good. Like, you know, we got a little mic in it, boom, boom. And he goes, nah, bro. It was like, I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean? And instantly my heart dropped, and I was like, bro, there's no way, bro.
They're like, bro, I can never please them.
No, I literally at this point, I was like, all right, like from here, like if you don't like this, like, okay.
Yeah, I think you did tell me that, bro. If you don't like it, bro, it's like you find out.
Because I thought he was like joking, so I called him and I said, bro, you being for real? And then he was like, no, bro, like it's amazing. And I was like, shut up. I was like, I feel like you're joking. I was like, at this point, dog, like you might as well take over it. I was like, I've done tried. I've done spent my money. Like, I don't know what you want me to look for. You know, I don't know what your vision is. I was like, I know I have a vision, but I feel like we're not communicating that vision properly to be able to say, hey, let me tell this to whatever guy we have hired out.
Yeah.
And then eventually you were like, nah, it's amazing. And I was like, wait, for real? Like, you being for real? Yeah. Shoo. So it's stuck, and I mean,
I like it.
Represents both of our colors. I know, you know, the neon is a little, the blue is a little lighter than mine, but same thing with mine. I mean, I have a metallic blue and green. He's mainly orange and black.
I love the contrast though.
So yeah, the contrast, yeah, it's good. I mean, what more could we ask for? You know what I mean? So sponsored by Humpty.
Yeah, sponsored by the CEO of Humpty, not me.
Oh,
the wifey.
My bad.
Yeah. But yeah. What else? I think there was. I wanted to talk to you about your commercial stuff, like.
Oh yes,
again,
back to the commercial.
Yeah.
I think for me, circling back to that is slightly different. And I don't have too much experience in commercial, but I would say there's, at least for me personally, there's two different levels of commercial. There's what I would consider the commercial size residential lots, or commercial properties.
Yeah.
So I've been fortunate enough to have somebody that we have here in the Pecan Grove area. He owns two different properties. One is a 4-acre lot, empty lot, completely empty. I mean, there's not even trees. There might be a few dips in the lawn here and there, but it's right behind a subdivision and right behind this, I think, like cheer facility or whatever for like the kids. So I was able to get him. There's not a lot that's expected from a completely empty lot besides mowing it, whether you go on a bi-weekly or monthly basis. I was once a month, and those were like the first times that I started renting out your skid steer with the brush cutter.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I have some pictures, and
was tall.
That stuff was taller than the skid steer. And his skid steer is already, 6 feet, 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
And so that stuff was huge. Well, we were able to get it chopped down to where now I'm able to use what you would consider the finish mowers, which are standard, zero turns and stuff like that leave a nice, clean finish lawn, versus a brush cutter, it just kind of like chops it off, and then, it might mulch it up a little bit, but it'll just knock it down. It won't necessarily, you'll still see like a few clumps and stuff.
Yeah.
That guy was doing, or that property was doing very, very well for us. Then eventually he brought me on to there's a property right in between the AutoZone and the O'Reilly's here in the Rosenberg area. And it happens to be the new company that came out, the cellular company Total by Verizon. Mm-hmm. And then the one right next to it, it's like this smaller clinic. Well, it's about, on Google Maps, like 0.28 of an acre. Same thing kind of like the property that we used to live in out in Rosenberg.
Oh, yeah.
And that property itself, it took me a lot to learn on what to bid for in a commercial site. And the reason why is because on a commercial site, it's not just mowing. Yeah, you look at it and you're like, oh, well, this is easy. The whole strip is concrete. I only have to mow, a certain section around the building, maybe around the back, around where the dumpster's at, and that's good. But that's a commercial site. People show up there every single day. How long is it going to take you to blow that driveway or blow the parking spots? Mm-hmm. And that's something that I didn't think about. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll just, whatever clippings I get in there, I'll blow them out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Them tires from the cars bring in all kinds of stuff. I mean, I found screws, I found all kinds of debris that blows in from the road, debris that flew off of the truck and the trucks, driving by. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that I was like, okay, I had to renegotiate. The initial time, I was charging them $25, and I was like, $25. This thing took me 2 hours to mow the first time. I was like, for $25, it was horrible money, and so that was bad. So I was like, okay, hold on, like this site's actually not that big. Maybe if after this first,
just a lot more like intricate stuff.
A lot more intricate stuff. Not only that, the trash.
Oh, yeah.
Picking up the trash
is time consuming too.
It's very time consuming. You have to have something. I mean, yes, I can probably put something on my machine, a little bucket and like a little one of those handheld things that you can you don't have to get off the mower. You just kind of
run it over, bro.
Grab it. Oh, yeah, run it over. I've ran over newspapers, and trust me, that stuff sucks. For that, anyways, once I renegotiated the terms, I was like, okay, let me time myself. Let me actually go in there and let me time myself. So
find out how long it's taking you.
Yep, and luckily the system that we have now, now HomeWorks, previously Copilot, that one you're able to clock in at the jobs and clock out. And so
each one
of each job,
each
job. So it's pretty cool. So once you get there, you hit start job, and then it'll start running a timer for how long you're on that property.
So you have like a time or average time of the
base time or average time without just looking at your phone, and then you're dealing with something. You're answering phone calls, whatever the case is, training employees. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, what time did I start? You kind of forget it. So I hit start, time myself. It was just me and my dad. We were able to do it a little bit faster. And then each time we kept getting faster and faster because after the initial maintenance, it was less stuff to do. We would show up on every 2 weeks as they wanted it initially on the contract and go from there. Well, I started bidding more properties, and now I knew, hey, bid out how long it's going to take you to blow out the driveway. Get all that debris, all those leaves that flew in from the neighboring property, whatever dirt the car is brung in, and blow all that off. Then pick up all the trash from the commercial site. Nobody wants to be showing up to a storefront or nevertheless, driving by a storefront and be like, hey, that store looks a little janky.
Yeah, it's all
trash all over the
trashy
place
and whatnot.
and stuff like that. And so that was a big thing for me. I was like, oh, wow, like, how can I bid this into the quote? How long is it going to take me? What if I got two guys with bags and, some gloves or some, small picker upper thingy, whatever those things are called. Grab that, boom, throw everything in the bag. So now when I go to bid a commercial site, I'm like, okay, hey, this makes sense. Let me throw in, 20 minutes, obviously depending on the size, 20 minutes, 2 people, total of 40 minutes picking up trash. Another 20, 30 minutes to blow, and then actually, the mowing. The mowing, if you've done this for residentials, I mean, you can pretty much do it with any commercial site. You go on Google Maps, you measure out the site, you know how many square footage you're mowing, and by then that helps you out.
And you're also not expecting to be like trash.
Exactly. And you're not expecting that, but you just
obviously
have to think
there probably
about
is some still there.
And probably, but people also litter. People are very nasty. And that's what sucks, because you would figure that, hey, there's trash bins all over the place as you're walking out of Starbucks or as you're walking out of McDonald's or your store, wherever you choose your character kind of deal. Even your car, like, keep it in your car instead of opening your door and, it all falling out. Like, keep your car, clean to that point to where that doesn't happen, you know, and stuff. And so it's like whenever you get to that trash can, the gas stations, all the gas stations have trash bins. I know that was a big thing for me whenever I had employees and stuff like that. Every day we would get to the gas station and
you empty out your whole truck.
I didn't tell them. I had, shout out to my boy Aaron and Arlie. They were one of the first few people that, every time we would get to the gas station,
throw all the stuff away.
Grab all the water bottles. As they would put the pump on the truck, as they were watching it, grab all the water bottles and throw them away. Or if they had to fuel up the machines, one of them would go fuel up the truck and the machines while the other one cleared the entire truck.
That was good.
And that was good. And I didn't have to tell them.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, okay, like, hey, like, that's
I wish Jerm did
that. That's a good plus. And so that's a big thing with that side of commercial properties in general, whether it's a huge acre lots and, you're doing a storage, or it's a small little storefront, for a mom and pop shop or a big, multiple $1 million corporation. Doesn't really matter who it is. You have to price that out. The commercial residential, that leads me to the contract that I had with Don. Shout out Don over there in Dallas. I had so many properties. You would consider me a commercial business at the time when I, had all the trucks. There was that point where we had 5 trucks, 5 trailers, 5 different
like
stand-ons.
600 yards, 700 yards.
About the most I was able to see was 680 properties. And so in a week, and that was on a Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. Sunday was kind of like an off day for everybody. But if we would fail, some truck would break down, something. Catch up day. And so that's something that I would consider, that's about as big as a commercial size gets.
That's crazy.
And a lot of the times, or a lot of the things that you see now, which leads me to an opportunity that I got a few days ago, a lot of these HOAs are switching to that. So let's say you buy a house, bro, you move in and it has an HOA. Yeah,
you're paying a fee and everything.
You're paying a fee and everything, and the HOA hires somebody out. They go mow the parks, or they go mow, like, what are those, the recreational areas and stuff like that. They mow maybe the cul-de-sacs in between those corner lots and stuff like that. Well, all of a sudden the HOA may come back and say, hey, you know what? We're going to raise our HOA dues. We're going to take care of the maintenance for your house now, because some people do it, some people don't. Yeah, and some people.
Honestly, it's probably a smart idea, because obviously people get letters and fines and all kinds of stuff for not having their grass cut for
eventually
2 days.
Yeah,
so stupid,
Eventually they get tired of
2 days.
The grass is too long for a short period of time. Yeah, and it just gets to that point. I know even for me, I have a few subdivisions here where we have very strict HOAs. I'm talking about if I'm not there within that week, they'll find somebody else, and I've lost properties like that because for some reason I haven't been able to show up on the specific day, even if it's just one time. For that one time that I just happen to not show up, hey, we can't go. We can't deal with this. I'm getting letters by the HOA. The day after you don't show up, and I'm just like, dang. Well, how do they know? You know what I mean? Like, is there somebody driving by every single day managing that?
Normally, normally there is.
And that's the thing. And you have to think about it as well. At least from my side, when you deal with something that big, you don't have the ability to charge what you want for the specific subdivision.
Because they're like, hey, this is what we can pay for. This is the set price. This is what we got to do.
And not that you can't place it on the bid. You can 100% place it on the bid. You can place whatever price you want on that bid. Whether
the HOA is only going to specifically pay
exactly
a certain amount.
HOA is charging each customer $150.
And then if they can save some money, well, that's just HOA can fit, can pocket.
Exactly. That's where a lot of the issues
because
arise.
they got all these people like underbidding or like charging stupid, crazy cheap.
Not only that, you have the mom and pop who can maybe their whole like business line is, hey, if I can land one HOA with one subdivision, I don't care if I take all week, right? That's my community and that's it. They have that community on lock, right? And so that was a big one for me to say, hey, you know, how with this opportunity that came up a few days ago, it was like, hey, okay, well, what can I really do? Because they're asking for the bar, they're setting the bar way up here. But if I'm only able to manage, you know, without losing anything or without having to invest thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to get to that point, what if I say, hey, you know what, maybe just give me one community or maybe just give me two communities or whatever the case may be. And then we'll get to a point to where we can say, hey, you know, this is manageable. Yeah. There's not much that needs to be invested, right? As of now, we can grow from there. Yeah. And that also gives you, you know, you as a listener, if you get the opportunity out there, that gives you the opportunity to grow and learn from your mistakes. Maybe if you lose that one or two, it's better than losing 15, 20 that are your entire existence of the business. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask you, because I get a question like this all the time, is, you know, people always ask me, oh, you know, what would you start with? How many dumpsters would you start with? You know, how many dumpsters do you think you could run with one truck or be comfortable and not be like stressing out? You know, to ask you that kind of same question in your business, how many people you think should be in a crew? I guess starting out, you know, and obviously, yes, you know, you could probably be one person, but to make a good living and still have a good, I guess, system going, or if you're like, okay, so like me, like how many dumpsters could you run, you know, with one person, one truck, you know, Monday through Friday? Same question to you. How many yards could you cut with, you know, maybe one person, two people, and a truck, you know, zero turn, whatever? So just in case if viewers want to know.
So for all you viewers out there, like I said on the last episode, that's where it comes in on you seriously taking the time to do your due diligence and doing your research on what can you afford and how much time do you have to start. Are you single and you're in your 20s to 30s? You have no girlfriend, you have no responsibilities, you still live with your parents, like you want to do something.
Before you keep going, whatever your answer may be, also how much money can that person earn?
Oh, okay,
in a week?
Gotcha. Okay, okay. Starting out, like I was saying, it depends on how much time you have. The time is the most valuable thing that we can get. If you sit here and you tell me, well, I already have a full-time job, I'm switching to part-time, I can only mow 2 to 3 days. Well, that's going to really depict from somebody that doesn't have anything to do, and they can actually go in there, sit on a mower for Monday to Friday.
Right.
Let's put just a simple scenario out there as an example, as my boy Jordy likes to make fun of me for making examples. But let's say you do have the time. Let's say you do have a typical Monday through Friday. You know, you may have a girlfriend, you know, that you want to hang out with on the weekend and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine, right? If you're able to do that, without pressuring yourself, I would say anywhere from 13 to 15 lawns from a 7 to 3 p.m. or a 7 to 5 p.m. Starting out. If you're starting out with the push mower, you may not be able to get to all those lawns. If you're doing 10,000 square foot lawns, you may not be able to even get to 10 with the push mower. Yeah. Really depends on your budget. If you have a budget, you have something saved that you can work up to, then work your way up, right? And think about, hey, okay, like I said on the last episode, and I will continue to say.
Well, obviously, you know, another thing too, like I obviously know that like route density changes a whole lot of stuff.
Where are you at in the neighborhood? You know, and where are you going to start? That's why I mean by work your way backwards. And as far as like, hey, okay, let me look at my subdivision. Do you live in a subdivision? If you live in the suburbs, you got to drive 30 minutes to a subdivision. That's your fuel there and back. You're already losing an hour just by going to that subdivision. Yeah. But if you live in the subdivision, you probably don't even need a truck. You don't even need a trailer. All you need is hustle and grit and a push mower, a simple blower, and a weed eater. I know for me, I started off with the super basic Echo 225, the weed eaters, super basic. You can get from Home Depot for like $250, $300. They might be a little more expensive now. A push mower. Push mower, again, super simple ones. Maybe the front wheel propelled ones, the ones that are kind of squiggle out. Those are probably the cheaper ones. So you can find a Toro, you know, recycler, the 22-inch recyclers for you know, a couple $100, $300-$400, and then a small blower going from there. The blower that I had when I started out, I'm pretty sure I could kneel down, blow with my mouth, and I'd be stronger than the pressure on the blower. No, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it depends on your budget. Let's say you have $1,000 to start off with. That's going to be your best bet. And even then, if you do have that, you might even be able to start off with some massive backpack blowers, a very nice Honda push mower,
for example,
and a very nice weed eater, because good old Facebook Marketplace. Now be careful, because a lot of that stuff could possibly be stolen.
Do you have any examples?
Right.
Like daily examples? I mean, personal examples?
Personal examples? No, besides what I started off with, and I use Facebook Marketplace 100%.
Did you buy the one with the spark plug from Marketplace?
No, I had that one. That one we had from the ranch whenever we lived there, and it got flooded. And we made it work after the flood. And then that's when we left the ranch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yes, going forward from there, and then working up. If you have time on your hands, hey, go out, do some marketing,
Andy.
go out, talk. What?
How many?
How many what? How many lawns can you do? It depends.
I love you, Andy. I love you.
What do you? I don't get it.
I love you, Andy. Look.
So this is getting cut because I don't know what's going on.
No, this is staying in. I love you, bro. But when I asked you questions,
yes, but you also asked me 7 different questions.
No, I didn't. I asked you one complex question.
Yes, a complex question that takes detail to get to.
Andy, I'm gonna cry, bro.
Okay,
it's so
cry.
fucking funny.
Cry.
If you explain it the way you explain it, which is very detailed, and I love that so much about you, and the viewers probably do too.
Well, they probably don't at this point.
It's gonna be tomorrow by the time I go home.
It's already tomorrow. Y'all got here at 9.
I know, bro.
Okay. You can mow anywhere between 13 and 15 lawns a day.
Okay,
right?
how much are the yards?
there? The yards starting off, you're going to start off at around $25-$30.
Okay, so math. Add it up. How much is that?
Oh, no, I'm broke. I'm not good at math.
He said I'm broke.
Let's do some quick math. Hold on.
I don't know. I'm broke. I can't do math. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's about a good $375 a day. You're going to be spending about approximately $75.
Right. Okay, $375 a day at 5 days a week. How much is that?
No, I got to pull out the calculator again. Bro, I don't do this, bro, because I just, I computers does
Boom,
everything.
perfect. Okay, so one guy, one push mower, one truck, obviously weed eater, blower.
Not even a truck if you live in a subdivision, but keep going.
Not even, but a vehicle, okay, that can pull a trailer, or not even. You could probably just throw that stuff in the bed or inside,
trunk.
whatever. So we're talking about one vehicle, one mower, one weed eater, one blower. 5 days a week, on average, people can make about almost $1,900 a week.
$1,875 a week, and that's mowing
Obviously
15 lawns.
that's before obviously your expenses, your
that's
fuel.
before. When you're starting out, you don't have that many expenses. You don't have.
true.
You're not going to go and get.
All it is fuel. Or,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
yes, but
you should obviously have insurance for sure.
yes,
but
a lot of the times, can people really afford that? Are people going to go out there and look for a whole policy just to work? They don't even know if they're going to fully do that.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
you might have the hustle for a week or two,
might be
but
like
you don't know if you're going to do that.
well, yeah, that's what you're saying.
So it just really depends. There is a true potential to make way more than that, and obviously that's just giving the cheapest price out there at $25. You know,
And that's honestly a really good living, bro.
Yeah.
Like making almost $2,000 a week. I mean, let's say, I don't know, $500 in expenses, and now you're still making about $1,500 a week.
yeah. It also depends again on where you're at. If you have a girlfriend, you're gonna be
Well, we're
spending
not
a lot.
talking about that. We're talking about
If you have a wife,
strictly
if you have kids,
to the beans, bro. We're talking about straight to.
strictly the beans. That's great. That's great.
I said it, bro, and I was like, that's not what I meant. It's not what I meant, bro. Strictly,
All right, bro.
Straight to the point.
All
Is what I'm
right,
trying
bro.
to say, like strictly to the point, bro.
That's crazy.
Oh my god, we're getting canceled on the second video. That's insane.
We're definitely getting canceled.
I can say that. Actually, I can say it. I had the B word pass. I just want y'all to know that. Okay, we're talking about strictly to the point
Okay.
that you can make about $1,500 a week with just one guy.
It's not always beans that started
It
off.
don't have to be. You have a girlfriend. You have this. You have that. If you have a girlfriend, you know she can cut grass too if she wanted to.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm
okay, Andy, just leave it. Yes, you can do it.
yeah, but I'm also generalizing it for the people. I mean, we're giving a generalized opinion on what it is.
exactly.
So you don't know what the viewer
Okay,
has
ask me.
going on. Ask you what?
Same question.
What was the question?
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. So how much for your industry, right? Getting a little more serious before someone throws another rant out. What did you start off with? What do you think you can make, with one trailer? How hard was it to finance that one or buy it outright? Like, what would you recommend? Say, hey, somebody 20-year-old comes at you and they're like, hey, I want to go. I have a truck. I just need the equipment. What do I get? How do I start? What do I do?
Perfect. So what I would recommend, 2 options. You have a dump trailer, which, just like I'll tell everybody else, you have a dump trailer, you have roll-offs. Dump trailers, which is obviously what he has. Dump trailers can be used for multiple things. So your clientele is going to be more vast, or whatever the word is, more open to different people. You might have a contractor who's going to use it for himself, for debris or whatever. You might have somebody that needs to move some materials. Basically, anybody with a truck can rent out that dump trailer. You could also still use the dump trailer as a dumpster, which obviously gets hate for in the dumpster industry. But ideally, it's the same thing almost. I mean, to me, it's the same thing. And I'm a guy that's never had a dump trailer.
It's just a dumpster on wheels.
It basically, yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the loading levels and stuff are different, but I mean, what's a ramp gonna, you just put a ramp on there, you're totally fine. It's the same thing.
What do you mean, like height to load, not necessarily?
Yeah, the height to load is different, but a lot of people open the doors in the back and they can walk stuff in, basically. So my 2 options, obviously, either A, you can start off with dump trailers. Dump trailers are going to be cheaper. You could probably find a good trailer, $7,000 to, I don't know, $12,000, depending on if you get a bumper pull or a gooseneck. Let's say you have that trailer, one trailer. Let's just say you rent it out one time every day. That's $150 a day at 5 days. What is that? 5, 6, 7.
So you can't do that either. Pull out your calculator.
About $850 a week. Actually, I don't know. Look, well, 5 times 1, right? 5 times 1 is 5, and then
because you said.
Then you have 5 halves, right? So that's 1, 2, boom, $750.
Looks like we're gonna need this calculator a bit more. Our viewers are gonna look at us, bro, and they'll be like, "I can't even do simple math."
I know, huh? How did they make it this far?
Hey, we made it. I'll tell you that much.
ChatGPT.
Sorry, clock it.
That's what people do.
Clock it.
You seen that? Yeah.
Anyways,
so obviously that's a little different than what you're doing, but the time to do those things obviously is a lot easier. People can pick up the trailer, right? And now you're just making $750 for nothing. I mean, obviously you have your maintenance and your tires and whatnot, but if we're just talking real world situations, you can make about $750 off of one trailer. If you're just renting it to somebody, now if you use it as a roll off, or if you use it as a dumpster, and I don't know, let's just say your cheapest dumpster is $400 or $425 or $450, obviously it's a little different because not everybody says, oh, I'm gonna need it for one day. Okay, but let's just throw out perfect situations out there. You got $400 for each day. Times that by 5. Simple math, Andy. What is that?
2,000.
Perfect. Ding, ding, ding. You're very smart. Smarter than a 5th grader. You watch that show?
No, but I'm definitely not.
Oh, you didn't have cable. I forgot.
I Cubo for all you. I don't know what that is. Just me? All right. Well, PBS Kids. Y'all know what PBS Kids is?
Yeah. Okay. Fubo TV. Fubo.
I guess.
Tubi.
I did. No, I didn't. I don't think I had Tubi. It was called Cubo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The little cube.
Oh, okay. So yeah, one dump trailer, you can make about $750 if you rent it out as a dumpster, or if you get a roll-off package. But let's just say, let's go back. If you have one dumpster or one dump trailer, or whatever case may be, you can make about $2,000. Now, if you use it as a dump trailer, a dumpster, you have your dump fees and your fuel and all that stuff. So your profitability goes down. In reality, it'll probably be about the same as if you just rented it out to somebody like, hey, go take my trailer and bring it back at the end of the day.
Yeah, because you're also, with the dumpster, take it, drop it,
empty
come back, go back, pick it up.
You're doing like empty. 4 trips in one thing.
Yeah, 4 trips in one. Versus the dump trailer, it's more... You're also doing 4 trips if you're dropping it off to someone, as to why your rate has to be different. But if you let them take it...
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking about best case scenarios, they pick up your dump trailer from your yard. You're charging them $150 a day. It could be more. I'm just saying, like, easy math. Or
150 for 12 hours, 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like I feel like that's a very fair price that people charge in our area. Everywhere is different, but $150 a day, you can make about $750 if you use it as a roll-off trailer, or roll off dumpster, whatever. $2K. Now, so when I first started, I had 3 dumpsters in one trailer. Right now, let's say you rent them out for $450 a week. That's obviously what? 4, 8, 12. Simple math. 1350 a week. Okay. So with one truck, one trailer, 3 dumpsters, you can make $1350 gross. Now, obviously, you got to do your dump fees and everything. And in reality, sometimes that dump trailer could be more profitable in the end if you have that kind of clientele. Now, obviously, I'm doing like a just like easy best case scenario, because whenever you start renting out dumpsters, you're going to have a couple people that will probably be like, well, I only need it for 2 days or 3 days. And then obviously now you're starting to obviously cook with grease and make a lot more money. So
Cook with grease?
Cook with grease.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Manteca. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. This also depends on what size you have. But when I first started, I had 3 15-yard dumpsters in one trailer. In one truck.
I mean, that's feasible.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how much money you can make with.
Do you feel like it's something you can do part-time?
Yes. So that's actually a great question. That's exactly how I started. I started off as a part-time gig. I was working full-time at Discount Tire, for maybe the new viewers that haven't seen the introduction, but I was working full-time at Discount Tire, and I wanted to obviously make extra money, and that was the best way. It's something that you can go. Dumpsters are pretty easy. You can go and drop one off, pick it up when they're done. And for me, it worked perfectly with my schedule, because I can go and pick it up after work, which would be 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then if I had to deliver it, well, as long as I had time to empty it somehow, like my day off, like in the middle of the week, I could deliver it before work, or I could deliver it after work. So, there was a lot of days that I was working like 20 hours a day, just because obviously I was trying to hustle, But yes, it definitely is a easy part-time thing to do, and yeah.
No, that's good. I mean,
that's good.
yeah. I mean, I'd say same thing for me. It just depends on where you're at in life. What are you doing in your life? What scenario do you want to see? How much do you want to make? How much time do you have to hustle? It just, there's a lot of variables as to what I was explaining before they started making fun of me. There's too many variables to say, hey, this is the best case scenario, because all you guys' life is different. Yeah,
we're giving best case scenarios.
If you have the most perfect case scenario where you have a lot of time, you can do a whole lot of stuff. Go out there. If you don't have work, market, go knock on the granny's door next 2 streets away, whatever. Yeah. Hey, can I mow your lawn for free, just so you could take some pictures of the property? Maybe
that's what I was gonna say, is like, when I first started, there was times where my dumpster sat at the yard for a week, 2 before it finally went out. Yeah. And the time that I had all 3 of them out, I was like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah, but crazy. you were also working full time, so it was very hard for you to go out there and spend some time marketing, spend some time putting out signs, spend some time doing X, Y, and Z. Because at the time you also have a wife, so it's like, if you're not working in someone else's business, and then you're working on your business for a little bit, well, when are you going to dedicate time to her?
Exactly. So that was another thing. Shout out to the wife that we prayed about a lot whenever we had first started the business, is sacrifice. And I think sacrifice does go a lot into a business, and obviously into life in itself. But me and my wife Sabrina, we talked a lot about that, about how we can sacrifice, what can we do to help our life, and obviously obtain more out of it. And a lot of times that we had prayed and asked God, like, what is it? It was sacrifice. And we knew that sacrificing the time that we would have together at home, which for some relationships might not work, and it's just the nature of it. But we've had that agreement and that understanding that, yes, I'm gonna be gone for 20 hours of the day, but at the end of the day, it's only for now. It's not for forever, And now, don't get me wrong, there are times that I do work a lot, but obviously as time goes on, I'm going to try to obviously hire more people to make our life easier.
Buy more time.
Exactly, and buy more time. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah,
when you hire more people, you're buying yourself more and more time. Yes, it costs you, but it's either going to cost you. You're buying back your time. Yep. Shout out Big X.
Thank you, producer.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I mean that's a good way to put it. So
yeah,
no matter where you guys are at, I mean, there's different ways to start. Whether you want to start with the dumpsters, whether you want to start, cutting grass, or whether you want to do both. I for example have that dump trailer, and he uses it. If I didn't have that dump trailer,
sometimes you use it too.
Yeah, I
do have customers too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have customers here and there for the dump trailer itself, and that's not even for both actually. For them physically coming to my house and taking it, and for me dropping it off at their house or whatever the case is.
And like me, I am more designated to dumpster rentals, but we still offer landscaping as a service, and if it's maintenance, obviously I'm like, talk to Andy, with GMP, and I'll refer him out. Or if it's like a small flower bed or whatever the case may be, like obviously I'll still reach out to him if it's something that we can't do, or if we're busy or whatever, we'll toss it over to Andy. Or if it's a big project, then we'll just tackle it together.
We've done a lot of those.
We actually have. We've done quite a bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always fun, working together and stuff. That's why, like, again, referring back to the previous episode, find you somebody that you can do that with, and don't look at them as competition. Look at them as like, hey, like, this guy's here to help. This guy's here. We're, go out to dinner with them, talk about business, talk, hey, how can I help you grow? How can you help me grow? And go from there. And I feel like that's the best way to build that camaraderie between, your community and building that community. You never know, I know we went to an event here in Fort Bend County in Richmond too, where we met quite a few people and they met us. I personally, don't think I got too much business from there. But then again, we also stopped going. So it was like, I'm pretty sure if we were to continue to go and see in the community what we can do, the
one thing I could definitely touch on in that aspect is a lot of the guys that see us at the landfill a lot, that maybe have, the dump trailers, or they may have the regular utility trailers, or the case may be, those people that have came up to us and like we built those relationships with, they're in that phase where they're asking me, what would you recommend? Would you recommend this? Would you recommend that? And then they'll tell me, well, honestly, I was thinking about getting a setup like you just in case you need help. And it's like that. Like the dumpster community is like that, where people do try to help each other out. If I'm busy, one of these other guys that have the same rail system as me may be able to help me, pick up a dumpster or move it, or whatever the case may be.
They happen to be on that side of town. Yeah,
or they might be on that side of town. Whatever the case may be, like, it's better to have people like that than I wouldn't necessarily say it's better to have them than have an employee. But when you're first starting out, it could be, like, hey, bro, can you go help me? I could pay, $50, $20, or whatever.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't that what you had Andy do for you?
Yeah. It's like basically when I had first started, I was working full time, and if I didn't have time to do it, I'd have Andy do it, or my wife. Shout out to my wife again. That's like 3 shout outs, right?
Hey,
like 3 shout outs, 4 shout outs.
So we're gonna do about 5. We should do a wife shout out or wife count shout out, whatever the hell you call it.
Do a count.
We'll do that. But no, I do give Sabrina kudos though, because driving that gooseneck around is not the easiest.
Yeah, and she never drove a truck like that and pulled a trailer, let alone a gooseneck trailer.
So, I'll follow that shout out along too, because first time I saw that, I was mowing your house whenever. I
remember, bro. You're like, "Are you sure you want Sabrina doing that?" I was like, "Yes." And you're like, "I mean, I know she can do it, bro, but like, are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then next thing you know,
I see her pull up one day when I'm mowing, and I'm like, "Yeah, you got it." Like, that's all you. Hey, let me get out of your way. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, because I know you always try to help me out as much as you could, and I think there was just that one time that you absolutely could not, and I'm like, "Bro, I'm just gonna have Sabrina do it." And you're like, "Bro, are you sure, bro? Like I can try to reschedule or try to help." And I was like, "Nah." And then Sabrina was like, "Yeah, I got it." And then she probably didn't, believe that she had it, but at the end of the day, she did it. She came back, and everything was good.
Yeah, that's the good
taken
part.
care of, and nothing was broken.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up, bro. What do you think is a good takeoff from this to leave with the viewers? What do you think they should do?
I would definitely at the end of this, remember a couple things. To be successful, you definitely have to sacrifice, compromise
a lot.
Or is that what it's called?
Compromise. What are you trying to say with compromise? Yeah.
Yeah. To be successful, you have to sacrifice, compromise, have a catchy business name, and really just have the hustle and the grit to be able to do all those things.
Yeah, I agree. Starting out, for sure, hustle and grit. Not having the what is it called? What do you call it?
Come on, you got it.
You see a shiny piece of equipment and you get that. I said it earlier.
Impulse buy?
Yeah, don't be impulsive on buying new stuff just because you see that it's extremely shiny and you're like, hey, it looks good, it looks that. Nah, but you wouldn't necessarily have anything impulsive.
I buy because I need it, right?
Yeah.
Or you need it.
Or I need it. Yeah, I mean, one or two, but I mean that's generally the point. Don't do impulsive buys. Hustle it out, especially for the first 2 to 3 years. And
actually, before we end this and sorry to cut you off, dumpster rentals is not a side hustle. I said it was a side hustle, but like if you really want to make something out of it, it really can't be.
That goes with everything though. You can't treat a side hustle like a full-time job or a full-time business. It's a side hustle for a reason.
Yeah, I definitely learned that the more time I put into my business, the more I got out of it. And I think that's obviously with every business. So
yeah, and I think that's something that weekend warriors learn after, a few months or a year maybe into it. It might be something that, hey, maybe this isn't for me, or I just can't keep doing this on the weekends. So if you do want to build something, get out of your regular 9 to 5, get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. I was going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. Uncomfortable builds diamonds.
Do that, and time builds diamonds, and a lot of pressure builds diamonds.
Exactly, that's what I meant, like comfortable with the pressure.
Time and pressure. But anyways, guys, hope you guys had an amazing week. Hope to see you all in within the next week, and enjoy the time now that you have it. The world is running out.
You're gonna make me cry. No, I'm just kidding. All right, time to go to bed.
See you guys.